Ayla Martinez is an amazing woman. She's a proud single mother of a beautiful baby boy, Josiah Cruz. She has always worked 2 jobs and gone to school and is extremely organized and prepared. When she became pregnant in 2012, Ayla formulated a new family budget in anticipation of her maternity leave. Her life and well-made plans turned completely upside down on December 11, 2012, when she was rushed to the hospital due to complications with her pregnancy. She was 31 weeks pregnant at the time and not due until February. The baby was too young to be delivered. At this point, Ayla received short-term disability because she did not qualify for family leave until February 14th. As a result, she was unable to pay her rent for 2.5 months. Unsure where to turn, she was referred to the Central Mass Housing Alliance to see if she qualified for help. She received a letter in just over a week notifying her that her rent would be paid in full. She was very grateful for the assistance the Hope for Housing program was able to offer her family, which prevented her from becoming homeless. Hope for Housing uses the collective buying power of faith communities to raise money for the prevention of family homelessness. Ayla's life balance has returned since Hope for Housing helped her at a critical moment. She and her son live in a beautiful home, and her life is again filled with promise and bright hopes. Each night in Worcester and the surrounding towns, hundreds of homeless families sleep in homeless shelters, motel rooms, and with anyone willing to take them in. In the past year, the number of homeless families in Worcester County increased by 22%, and the fastest growing segment of the homeless population is children.
We know that social service agencies and our public schools and our communities, our society is working overtime to try to address the problem and compensate for the deficits that children face because they do not have a place to call home. This is an easy issue for us to understand, I think, in an empathetic way. Those of us who are fortunate enough to have homes, who have children, who grew up in those homes, and we knew the kind of stability that provided their lives. The family is a critical unit of formation for us as people, and for that family to be solid, for it to flourish, to thrive, it has to have a place, its own place it can call home.
The impact to kids is dramatic. They get, schools get crazy and messed up, their health care, they get shipped all over the state. They get depressed, staying too long in shelters. Everybody does better with a house and a home.
In 2008, a group of 6 faith, community, clergy, and congregation members came together and created Hope for Housing. Hope for Housing is a nonprofit program developed by the Interfaith Coalition to Prevent Family Homelessness with assistance from the Central Massachusetts Housing Alliance. The project raises awareness about homelessness in our community and utilizes the collective buying power of congregations to raise money for the prevention of family homelessness.
This was a great opportunity to put our faith in action and to do something for those on the brink of homelessness. This Hope for Housing program that we're working on is focused on prevention, because prevention means not being evicted. When people are evicted from their homes, their belongings are put out on the street, and in the process of being evicted, you also stigmatize yourself in terms of ever finding another apartment, or at least not one without a lot of assistance and sponsorship of a group like Central Mass Housing. Children wind up having to change schools and a whole series of potential issues that might attach themselves to their future lives. For the last 6-7 years, we've been helping them one by one try to remain in their home.
How does the program work? Gift cards for local retailers are purchased in bulk by Central Mass Housing Alliance, which in turn are sold to members of participating congregations at their places of worship. The retailers donate 2 to 10% of all sales to the Hope for Housing program to assist families at risk of homelessness. By purchasing gift cards, you help to stabilize families and keep them in their homes.
We advanced them the $20,000 to launch the supermarket campaign. And unbeknownst to me, we gave that money like 4 or 5 years ago. She sent me an update and said that they have leveraged $200,000 and growing. I think that's a phenomenal return on investment. It should be replicated everywhere. The power of those dollars allows Grace to fill all the gaps and move very quickly with families to get them to what they need and to get them to housing faster. They're the best dollars you could be raising. So any work that the faith community can do on the flexible fund side is the miracle of the loaves and fishes. I do not use those words lightly. It makes magic happen.
Hope for Housing volunteers have helped numerous children and their families avoid the life-changing effects of homelessness. And since September 2008, Hope for Housing has distributed over $208,000 to families on the brink of homelessness. All this came from the sale of the cards and the love and dedication of the congregations and volunteers.
Pick up a card at full value. It has no deduction. It's $100 worth if that's what they purchase for a card. They can go to the grocery store and they can buy anything they want in that grocery store.
You don't lose anything by doing it. You're just buying the grocery cards, you're getting your full value for them, and you go to those stores anyway.
Such a relatively painless way to support a good cause. And it's money I would be spending anyway.
I have people that would prefer to use the cards than pay money.
I love the fact that 5% of your grocery card goes to help the homeless.
We sell about $1,500 a week at the weekend, and every week there's other people joining in, which is wonderful.
Last year, for the year, we sold right around 20,000.
You put all those little 5% together, you really do end up with a huge amount of money.
The volunteers that take the time to promote the cards and sell the cards are contributing greatly to helping to resolve homelessness. By raising those precious, flexible dollars, it doesn't get any better than that.
Certainly there are people among us who are less fortunate than we are, and those of us who have been greatly blessed have an obligation to use whatever means, our time, our talent, and our treasure so that we can provide for those who have less.
Here's a chance that you can reach out without doing anything except for being a participant of purchasing the card.
You don't lose anything, and you're giving so much to the families that are homeless.
It's just so easy.
Come to coffee hour at Christ Church and buy cards.
Purchase those cards. It helps everybody.
As one pastor said, this is a win-win. It doesn't take anything out of the collection plate, and it's doing a lot of good for the community.